Ladies and gents, oh bloody hell, that sounds rough. Barry, sort this mic out, will you? Right then, that's better. Right, ladies and gents, up next we've got a grand couple of lads who are here to talk about films, TV and cultural stuff in general. When they rang me up and asked for a slot, I did tell them, lads, I said, I just don't think Todmorton's ready for that kind of thing. Anyway, they promised me they're not too stuck up, so please give them a big welcome. Oh, I forgot to mention, after Dave and Julie's wedding do got cancelled, we've got a load of pickled eggs left over, just 5p each. Fill your boots, otherwise Irene will be scoffing those behind bar. And eggs play bloody hell with her bowels, and we all remember what happened last time when Plumber came. Right, Barry, do these lads give you that CD with an intro music on? Best get it played then.
And unfortunately, due to human error, what you just heard was the only surviving part of our first ever live podcast recording, which that's a real shame because it was great. Sticky carpets, smell of the grease paint, and of course all the cheap shandies we could neck.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it was the best show we've ever done. People laughed, there was audience participation, and we sold a few mouse mats, which always helped.
The merch stall was overflowing.
It had people. It
did.
And Doris, bless her, helping us sell some stuff was cracking.
Yes.
Absolutely cracking.
Very helpful. And of course, we managed to... We gave them a hand to do the raffle tickets at the end as well.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Great night. I guess we're just going to have to do our best to recreate the magic for the listeners over the next hour or so and hope that lightning can strike twice.
Yeah. That's all we can do.
Anywho.
So, do you know, it's been a pretty quiet day, news day, really, hasn't it, as we're recording this?
Nothing corrupt or... going on in the world of UK politics at all, I don't think.
I've been kind of racking my brains all day because I could normally think of something funny to say, a little pun or a joke.
It's not a fucking laughing matter though anymore, is it?
Really? No, I'm kind of done with the fucking lot of them, to be honest. Yeah. I'm kind of... we're not a political podcast, but it's just insane, and I think people have just about had enough, and there are some local elections soon at the time of recording this.
It better reflect what's going on in the world, because if it doesn't...
If people still vote for this shower of twats, then fucking God help us. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to more brighter things.
Channel 4 privatisation.
Channel 4 privatisation. Speaking of a shower of twats.
Oh, God alive. I mean, is it been confirmed, or is it in the to-dos? What else can we fuck over in this country? Channel 4.
They've stated it's their intention to privatise Channel 4.
Of course, it's our intention to Channel 4.
Yeah. Of course, our glorious culture secretary, Nadine Dorries, didn't even know that Channel 4 wasn't actually publicly funded.
What's the term, Mark? Thick as pig shit?
Thick as pig shit. Thick as mince. Thick as a whale omelette.
Not a political podcast.
Take your pick. Yeah, so Channel 4, right, I think often gets kind of conflated with this whole thing that some people, again, have with the BBC, what do we pay our licence fee for and all that kind of thing, which we've covered before. And I think people get confused because Channel 4 is publicly owned, right? Owned by the government on behalf of the people.
The people.
But it is not publicly funded. It gets no money at all from the licence fee. It's paid for through advertising.
Sure.
So when people go on about, Channel 4 doesn't represent us, why we're paying for it, we're not. And our own fucking culture secretary had to be told that.
It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Bit awkward.
Did you know that our Prime Minister had to be told that the party that he was at was a party?
Totes awkward, isn't it?
Oh, it's
just
ridiculous.
awkwardness after awkwardness.
So this isn't actually a podcast, It's
No,
no.
it just happens to be us chatting hundreds of miles apart and being
Yeah,
recorded.
yeah.
It's bizarre, and somehow it ends up online.
Just a technicality.
Just a technicality. So, yeah, and I think
What's the real, consequence of it being sold and made private? Is it won't be as edgy because it won't have the freedom that it's had? Because Channel 4, if they were first in a lot of things, and
that's basically it. They're a public service broadcaster, right?
Right.
They're here to provide they're like the BBC in a way, right? In that they're here to provide the kind of programming that a profit-focused, shareholder-focused business won't. So, for
because
example,
there be an agenda to push, or
not that there's necessarily an agenda, but for example, it's stuff that wouldn't. Right, you look at someone like ITV, right?
Yeah.
Then they've got shareholders, and all the shareholders care about is the profits and the dividends and the money they make from those shares.
Right.
So if ITV put on a controversial show, right, subject matter or whatever, and the advertisers say boycott them, or the share price dips, right, that affects those investors, those shareholders.
Sure.
Channel 4 don't need to worry about that because ultimately they don't have shareholders. Yes, they need to make money. They need to make money from advertising to fund the programs, but profit isn't the point.
Right.
Making enough money from advertising to cover the cost of the programs is the point. And so you get shows like Queer as Folk. I mean, we're going back 20 odd years, right? But Queer as Folk would never have been on ITV. You get things like, but don't forget as well, right? Channel 4 have got Film 4. They have been involved in
some of the best British films ever made, to be honest.
Some of the best, biggest, most internationally successful stuff like, if I'm not mistaken, Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Yeah.
You got things like Shaun of the Dead.
One that surprised me recently was Last Night in Soho.
Yes.
Yep. Greed, that I watched on Netflix the other day, I didn't realise was Film 4.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you look at the list that's publicly available on the website. Dream Horse, which was relatively new.
And they've got things like the crossover. So you've got Film 4, made This Is England.
Sure.
Channel 4 then carried on, made the TV sequels. Right? You got stuff, the Danny Boyle stuff, Trainspotting.
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina. So much stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not just about the TV side.
Hey, Mark, they should capitalise that. They make a killing. I'm kidding.
And it might be that Film 4 gets spun off as a separate company and carries on doing its great work. But
it'll probably get bought by Amazon, won't it? Let's face it.
Probably. But the synergy between Film 4 and Channel 4 as the same company, essentially, means you have that link, right? That kind of crossover thing. I think the risk of it going private is you lose... Again, it's the same argument as the BBC. Well, they don't make any programmes I like. All right, well...
I'm sorry, everybody has watched Naked Attraction at least once to go, right. What the fuck is this?
Exactly. I don't watch that. I don't watch Hollyoaks, right? But I love a bit of 8 out of 10 Cats, right?
Quite sure.
Etc., etc., etc. Everyone will find something on there that they like. But that's not the point. It's not about necessarily what is it that you want to watch. It's the fact that here is a commercial station that is making stuff that others won't or can't, and they also team up and they do international productions. One of the arguments they're using here is that Channel 4 need to compete with the likes of Netflix. You go onto Netflix, half the fucking stuff they've got is Channel 4.
Yeah.
You go on Netflix and they've got Derry Girls. They've got, if they don't have it now, they certainly have had it, Peep Show, In-Betweeners, right? The streamers get half of their content from the TV channels in a given country, right? There isn't no need to compete. It's there's co-productions, there's licensing deals. Where's the need to compete? It's a different market. They don't need to compete with Netflix because it's a different,
Yeah.
not a different audience, because obviously people watch both.
But it's a different market. It's streaming versus terrestrial television, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
And it's what it comes down to. This is just a big hissy fit by the government because essentially Channel 4 News is one of the very few mainstream news outlets that calls the government out on its bullshit. They've got a fantastic, independently minded team. And it's not just the Conservative government. They did the same with Labour 15, 20 years ago, right? They do it to whichever government is in place. And that's kind of the job, right?
Sure.
You report the news, you call out the bullshit, and you ask the tough questions. And this government does not like being asked the tough questions. That is why you've got them going on about cancelling the licence fee before the end of the decade. Now they're focusing their tantrum on Channel 4. That's all it is. It's a tantrum because they don't like being called out.
And as you said, we're not a political podcast.
And we're not. We're a cultural podcast. But
Talking of
that's
culture.
what it comes down to. It's the same
still
thing that
going.
I said. Say again.
Are we still going about this?
I'm just saying it's the same thing I said with the license fee, right? You may complain about having to pay the license fee. You may complain about Channel 4 making shit programs that you don't like. But when those things are gone and the focus is just getting in as many viewers and as much advertising revenue as possible and profit for the shareholders, you're really going to miss what you had.
Oh, agreed. I'm fully on board with that.
And I think that there's petitions and all this lot. There's so many people within Channel 4 have come out and said it's just a really fucking bad idea. It's met with so much opposition. One can only hope it doesn't actually go through.
Agreed.
Either they back down or they get defeated at some point along in the legislation. Let's leave it there. Let's see how things go. Let's move on to happier news.
Happier news. The incredibly dark, satirical drama, I suppose, Inside Number 9 is back on our screens. BBC Two, 20th of April at 10 p.m.
Cannot wait.
Is it satirical?
Well, this is what I love about it, right? It changes all the time. Some are dead serious. Some are laugh out loud funny. The genres within each season, it's brilliant. Yeah.
I enjoyed the last series. There was a really my favourite one from the last series was the devil in the hotel room with the old guy and the nurse. That was thoroughly excellent. And big fan of Pemberton and Shearsmith, and they're bloody brilliant together. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing who pops up this time.
One of the guest stars in the new series is Mark Gatiss, the other League of Gentlemen.
Has he not been in it yet?
I don't think he's been in it. I think this is his first time. And apparently it's an episode about a university reunion.
That's quite poetic.
Of course, they were all at uni together, right, originally. So.
I mean, news to me, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Not too long to wait, just over a week or two, maybe.
Just a great show. The fact that they can come up with fresh ideas every time. Just brilliant.
Some darker than others, some just comedic.
Yeah.
I do want a really dark, scary one though.
Yes, they're good at those. They're really good. They're really good at horror. Did you see the quote unquote live one, the Halloween one that they?
Do you know? I heard about it at the time, and I discovered Number 9 after the fact that aired. But I'm going to watch it before this series because apparently it was brilliant. I mean, it reminded me of was it Ghostwatch?
Ghostwatch,
right. It's reminded me of that.
What I love about them, going back to League of Gentlemen, is that they really play on those kind of horror tropes. They're all huge fans of like the 70s, like Hammer and Amicus horror movies.
Okay.
So like League of Gentlemen, there's a League of Gentlemen Christmas special that was like a 3-part, I think, anthology episode, and that was very kind of Amicus-esque.
I've only watched the first 2 episodes of Gentlemen, but I was thinking about it the other day because of Number 9 coming back, thinking I'll go do it. And Reese Pemberton was on.
Reece
Reese
Shearsmith.
Pemberton. Oh my god.
Which one? Steve or Reese?
Well, this is the thing. Both of them were, because it was the Great British Menu.
All right.
Steve Pemberton was the guest judge one episode, but then Shearsmith turned up at the banquet. So we can leave that in because factually, that was a quick way of saying Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith.
It's like Benifer, isn't it? Like when
Benifer Banniston.
When the superstars are dating, they merge the names.
Yeah, I can't think of any others because I don't give a shit.
Jedward.
They're not dating each other, Mark.
Well,
Just are they?
Now then. No, I'm really looking forward to this. I think the fact they managed to come up with fresh stuff every time.
The magician one. I think that was the first episode of the last series. That was really clever.
That was brilliant. That was so good. And they really kind of they managed to switch. You know, there was one in the first season. Was it the first or second episode that was? I think it was the second episode called A Quiet Night In, which is almost silent all the way through.
That's the first one. The two robbers.
Yeah, no, that was the first episode. Was sardines, where everyone's trying to hide.
All right, nerd.
Yeah. But just the fact they go from, as you say, the comedy stuff, the horror stuff. They've not done anything really kind of actiony. I don't know if that would fit. But they keep it fresh, they keep it funny, interesting, and there's some really there's some that kind of really hit emotionally as well.
Yeah.
Just brilliant. Can't wait. We'll talk about it when we've seen a few.
Absolutely.
So going back briefly to streaming, obviously the sale of MGM has all now gone through with Amazon. And they've announced that all of the official bonds, so we're not counting the original Casino Royale or Never Say Never Again, are going to be on Prime Video in April for a limited time. What do you reckon to that?
I mean, I guess it depends on how long the limited time is because it's a lot of films, and I think you can be out-bonded quite quickly. That's always been my experience with Bond films. Like I didn't re-watch the Craig films before seeing No Time to Die because I'd have been out-bonded really quickly. And I think some of the older ones.
Had you seen them originally though?
I had.
But you just didn't re-watch them.
I tell a lie. I think I watched Casino Royale.
Okay.
Again, and I have a feeling I'd watched Skyfall relatively recently. But I certainly didn't watch Quantum, Spectre. I think there's another one in there. Quantum of Solace, Spectre.
Skyfall?
Yeah, no, Skyfall. No, Skyfall I liked. Yeah, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? No Time to Die.
Yeah, that's right.
So I watched a few of them, but no, for no reason. I think I read a recap of Spectre going into No Time to Die just so I remembered.
Okay.
But some of the original ones, I've not seen all of the Bond films. I have them, but I haven't seen them all.
Yeah.
For the same reason I've just explained, I sort of get a bit bored of it, and that sucks to admit, but I do.
Yeah, I've got them all. I've seen all of them at least once. But obviously there's some the quality varies wildly, right? And there's some there's some that are obviously a lot more rewatchable than others. But I think it's not. I guess it's not a surprise that they're going to be on there.
Well, no, I mean they've spent what was it, 4 billion or 12 billion,
something like that.
I don't know what it was, but it was billions of pounds or billions of dollars, whatever, and they are gonna probably use it as a push for subscribers. But I don't know how it'll feel because I feel out of all the streaming services that we are forced to have these days, I feel that Prime is the weakest in terms of quality, even though it might be 4K UHD. I think it's, again, I don't know the technical side of it, but it feels milky. It doesn't feel as crisp as Disney Plus. I think Disney Plus is the best.
I think you might be right, actually, in terms of actual streaming quality, picture and sound quality, yeah.
Now TV is the shittest. I've never, ever, ever been able to watch a full film on Now TV without it being pixelated in one or two scenes. And they keep, it's your internet. It's like, fucking well isn't Sky.
Now, this isn't an anti-Sky podcast.
Well, give us a Sky Glass then, Sky, and we'll talk. But right now, Now TV is gash.
I think, personally, the worst thing for Amazon Prime Video for me is the app. The app's just awful. Trying to find stuff.
Do you know what I find funny about the Prime app? I see it on Twitter all the time because I'm a Twitter lurker, and someone goes, "Oh my god, Prime's crap. You pay for the subscription, and there's all these films you still got to pay for." It's like, well,
yeah.
I mean, I know this was a conversation in the Slack, and I don't want to slag off the person that brought it up because that's not where I was coming at from that. I promise you, but it's like Prime or Amazon as a whole is a seller. They're not specifically a service to stream like Netflix. Don't sell anything else bar the service.
True. That is
so I
very
think
true.
it's fair that they're going to have these rights to show these films, but you're going to have to pay it because they don't have the license to show it free.
Yeah.
But you just have to be smart where you look. I'm sorry, it's not.
I think on the search thing, I think there is an option to toggle it so it only shows your results for stuff that's included in the price.
Included with Prime, yeah.
Yeah. But no, no, you're right. Yes, they're not just a streamer. They sell stuff as well. That's true. Going back to the Bond stuff, it's also been announced that starting next week, View and Odeon will be screening all of the films as well.
What, from the beginning?
Yep.
Nice.
Different one each week. From next week through to the end of September.
Pretty cool.
And they will be in 4K, all of them, which suggests then that the
physical release. That's my physical release song.
Well, yes, physical release. But it suggests that at least the Amazon streaming versions will be 4K.
Yeah, but it won't be as good as if it was on Netflix.
No. But then we could then logically expect a 4K physical release by the end of the year as well, I think. Do you want to do your 4K physical release song?
Nah, the moment's passed now. Let's move on.
Okay.
But yeah, Bond 4K Prime.
Physical release. There you go, I've done mine. So...
Get back down that working men's club, Mark. Earn your keep.
Hey, 4K.
Let's do some reviews.
Let's do some reviews. Go on then.
Well, we've had, as of recording, not as of release. As of release, there'll be the fourth one out or third one out. I can't remember.
Third, yeah.
Third one out. 2 episodes of Moon Knight. So far, I'm interested where it's going. Still don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
But have Disney just given up on good CG?
It's a bit iffy, isn't it?
The suit's pretty cool, but the car chase was laughable. It's like, it was like something out of a mid-2000s Vin Diesel film.
It wasn't the best. I'm kind of trying not to let that take away from it. And let's, as you say, let's kind of see where it goes. I'm enjoying where it's going so far.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one, just because, again, I'm keen now to see where it's going. And I like I just like watching the Oscar Isaacs just flip to his Mark persona or his Steven persona, and it's again, we're not going to give anything away, but it's really cool how they interact with each other. Yeah, there's some really clever scenes with, him fighting with himself, if you like.
Yeah, and I think there's some real, because obviously it's the same actor, right? There's no additional makeup, there's nothing like that, but it has that effect. It's a similar effect, when you're watching Christopher Reeve play Clark Kent and Superman.
Yeah.
And when he's Clark Kent, he's bumbling and he's kind of hunched over a little bit, and he holds himself quite timidly and kind of, he's like 6 foot odd as an actor, but he makes himself look small, if you know what I mean. And then he takes off the glasses and suddenly grows about 6 inches.
Oi, oi.
And it's like, hey up now then. Do you know what I mean? So there's it's the same actor in the same clothes, but physically there's
a distinct difference.
Yeah, he holds himself differently, and that's really clever, really subtle. I know one of the things that kind of they were taking the piss out of on the trailers was his English accent.
I think it works though. Now I've seen it.
Works. I think he's actually really good. The more you hear it, he does a really good job, and I think it's helped with the dialogue. I don't know. I don't think it's written by a British
Well,
writer,
there's some British gags in there.
but they've definitely had a British polish, if you know what I
Well,
mean.
it's the fact that he shouted "oh bollocks" at one point.
Yeah,
I was like, well, that's British because I use that word
yeah,
regularly.
he looks in the mirror and he's like, "Oh, I look like a knob."
Yeah,
You know, it's like there's definitely been a pass. Some British writer has had a go at it, kind of thing.
yeah. It's fun so far.
There's some nice humour in it, as you say, kind of British humour almost.
But I'm waiting for it to turn to the this is the edge of what we could have put in it to make it a 12A or whatever is in America, but
Yeah,
not a rated R, because so far it's had some scary moments that have genuinely made me jump. But there's nothing that I think, oh, this is hard for a 12.
no,
The Falcon and
not
the Winter
yet.
Soldier had the new Captain America decapitate a person, and it was
Yeah,
bloody. We haven't had any of
yeah,
that yet, so I'm waiting for
not
that
yet,
to happen.
not yet. But we'll see. No, good so far though. Good so far. Um, Go on then. What else?
Let's stay with Disney Plus. Um, Sebastian Stan earning his Disney paycheck money
Oh yes,
in Fresh
right.
with Daisy Edgar Jones, I think is the name
Okay,
of the female
okay.
lead.
Yep.
Essentially, it's a thriller, but if you talk to a wife, she said that was an absolute horror film, and I'll come on to why.
Okay.
So, the concept is a girl meets a man, and the man turns out to be a cannibal, essentially, who kidnaps people, kidnaps women, and sells their flesh organs to rich men who like that sort of thing. And as my wife said, I said, "Oh, that wasn't as gory and or scary as I thought it was going to be based on the ads." She went, "No, but as a lady, that is terrifying. You go out on a date, think it's all fine, and you then get drugged and get entrapped and become trapped." I was like, "Yep, that's fair enough. Not a side I'd ever think of." But it was a bit graphic. You cutting people up like it was a good film.
Okay. I've not seen it yet, but I've heard very good things about it.
It's certainly worth a
So
watch.
yeah, definitely on my
Certainly worth
list.
a watch. Maybe we'll
Definitely on my
take some
list.
of that out so it's not as spoilery.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But
Maybe,
for
maybe
me,
good idea.
I'd give it a solid 3 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
I think
All right,
I wanted a bit more blood and guts just because of the concept of it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I'll give it a watch.
But
I'm still
Sebastian
definitely.
Stan, who's excellent, so
Yes, he is. He's definitely growing on me. I wasn't too keen on him at first, but definitely growing on me.
have you watched Pam and Tommy yet?
No,
Okay, wait,
no.
watch him in that.
Um.
Talking of horror,
So talking of horror, and now this is Netflix. There's a new documentary on there, two-parter, Jimmy Savile, A British Horror Story. Have you watched this one?
no, but a friend has started it and basically said what we all have said over the last 10 years is how the frig did no one ever act on it?
It's an interesting one. It's there is that. Yeah, absolutely, it does raise that question, and there are some attempts to answer that. Not very convincing necessarily, but I think for the average British viewer who kind of knows what's been going
Yeah,
on.
so we've all lived through it, haven't we? Like
Yeah.
a lot of people who, especially the older generation, will know of him in back in the day,
Yeah.
and the younger generations will have known the fallout of what has happened since.
Yeah. I think as a documentary for a British viewer who has lived through it and so on, there's probably not a lot of new information in there.
Right. Okay.
I think it does a good job of condensing all the various stories and gives it all context and all that kind of thing. But ultimately, at the end of it, I'm not sure that you've necessarily learned anything new that you
Okay,
didn't
that's
already
fair
know.
enough.
They've also left out some of there were certain accusations around necrophilia, basically,
Right.
that they don't even mention, which is an interesting one.
Well, as a Brit, and with the other documentaries that have been on,
Yeah,
we have been made aware of that.
exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
those who know that he was connected to hospitals. Yes, they again, whether it was proven or not, I don't know. Because none of it was proven while he was alive.
No, but I
Yeah.
wonder if maybe they've not that he can sue them, obviously, but I wonder if they just left those out because they are a little bit more outlandish, and there's maybe not quite as much evidence to
No.
back up. Who knows? I think what I would be interested in is the kind of views from other countries. This did make the news in other countries, but obviously just as something that was going on somewhere else. But now this whole kind of, I think the two parts, I think, are almost 3 hours long in total.
Yeah.
And, I'd be interested, because like in America, they've obviously had Weinstein, they've had the Cosby stuff. This beats all of that, right? I mean, not that it's a competition, but it really does blow Weinstein and Cosby out of the water, right? So I'd be interested in like the American view.
Well, I did read one thing that Americans were looking at it and going, I mean, the Brits are thick because what did they why didn't they do anything? And then I looked at it from another point of view, going, just remember the president you voted in a couple of years ago,
Yeah, but again, why didn't they do anything about Weinstein for years? Why didn't they do anything about Cosby for years? You know what I mean?
Quite
It's
right.
like you can say it, but it goes both ways, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
But I think it's an interesting documentary. I think it's very well put together. There are certainly some people on there who I've not necessarily seen on any of the documentaries about him before.
right.
They interview one journalist who's, when it all came out, it was after he died, and a couple of journalists put together. I mean, they filmed a report, they interviewed victims on camera, they had it all there ready to go for an article on BBC Newsnight, and it was canned like within, I think, 24 hours before it was due to go out. The segment was canned from Newsnight. They didn't want to go near it. So basically, the journalists gave everything, all the not the filmed footage because that was belonged to the BBC, but they
But the
gave
data and
the data,
yeah,
the research, everything they had. They gave to ITV, and it was ITV who then made the famous documentary
right,
that came out like a year after he died, something like that. That kicked the whole thing off.
right. Okay.
So they interview one of those journalists, and he talks a bit about what went on at Newsnight, it being cancelled, and how he gave everything to ITV and all that kind of thing. So there's certainly, and there's some interesting perspectives because he did raise millions for charity, right? Especially Stoke Mandeville Hospital, he raised £10 million in 3 years to rebuild Stoke Mandeville Hospital. And there's interviews with some of the staff and some of the patients there who are going, obviously, he was a monster, regardless of what's come out
But look at what
since
he
he
did.
died. But from their perspective, they never saw him do anything bad. They personally never saw any bad behaviour. What they saw was a guy who was asked to help a hospital that was falling apart and raised £10 million to
Yeah,
rebuild it.
that's what I've seen that in various documentaries.
And it's, for them, it must be so difficult for them to reconcile because they never saw any bad behaviour or they never registered any bad behaviour. They might have seen it and not realised, who knows?
Sure.
But from their perspective, he's the guy who saved their hospital. They are, wheelchair bound for life. They could have had a miserable existence, and he helped raise the money to fund the facilities that could have literally been the difference between life and death for some of these
On the
people.
flip side of that, though, and I'm sure the documentary goes into it, he used that power and
Oh,
abused that.
absolutely.
It's my hospital. Do you want that wing? Well, you better let me crack on with what I'm doing then.
Potentially that kind of thing did go on.
Yeah.
And I do recall reading when this was all coming out years ago, if ever he was questioned and kind of perhaps threatened with a story, he would say, well, look, all this money I've raised, who else is there going to be if I go to prison? No one else is going to be around who can raise this kind of money.
I mean, Sir Captain Tom Moore.
God bless him.
That's another political scandal, actually.
Well, that's something else, isn't it? Yeah, but no, I think definitely it's worth a watch. You may be watching from behind a cushion or through your fingers at some of the stuff of just like, how on earth did people just... And what's interesting, to be honest, is the show footage of him where he's being like candid and he's basically admitting to what he's doing. He's not denying what he's doing, but he's doing it as a kind of almost in a kind of performance way that then you think, oh, it must be a joke. But actually, no, he's really saying what he's really doing. People just thought he was playing a character, an act. It's fascinating. Well worth a watch. Even if you're familiar with it, I'd say it's worth a watch as a kind of a good summary of everything. And as I said, I'm interested in seeing what people who are not familiar with it,
thought of
it. Yeah, wow, bonkers. Anyway, so it's been a bit of a miserable week, all told. It's
been a miserable few years.
Well, yeah, there is that. So, lighten the mood a little bit. Let's have a little feature that we've not had for a bit, back by popular demand.
Yes.
Basically just us two. Fancy doing it again. Let's get busy with the quizzy.
Yay!
It's Dan versus Mark. It's Dan versus Mark.
Okay, right then. So, quiz this week is mastermind style. We've both picked a specialist film subject.
Yeah.
And then we're doing 5 of those questions, and then we're doing 5 general knowledge film questions. Obviously, we don't know what questions we're going to be asked.
Nope.
But at least we know for the first bit the subject for the first 5 questions.
Yes.
Would you like to be the question taker or the question giver?
Receive or give. I don't know. I've panicked. I'll dish out the questions first.
Okay.
So, your name,
Mark.
Occupation,
Podcast presenter and legend.
Okay, and your specialist film is
Alien 3.
Okay, so we don't have a timer. There's 5 questions, 5 points on the table. Alien 3. What does the Hungarian title of Alien 3 translate to?
Oh, piss.
I've got a book on Alien. I like Alien 3.
Yeah, not the fucking Hungarian version. Fuck me. I don't know. Teeth creature in space.
Oh. No.
Go on.
Alien. Final solution. Death. Which is funny, because it's alien and a fucking number. How is that the Hungarian translation?
Go on. Right, okay.
Number 2.
Oh,
I can't stop laughing now. Sorry. Oh, God. Number 2. Pisses my alarm now. Get me up.
Yeah, wait till we get to yours.
Fucking hell. I'm going to start again. Okay, number 2. True or false? Ripley was never meant to be in Alien 3.
The original scripts for Alien 3 were written on the assumption that Sigourney Weaver would not want to be involved. So, if that's your criteria, then true. Originally, she was not involved in the early scripts.
Correct. True. What is the body count in the theatrical cut of Alien 3? I'll allow you 5 either side.
18.
I mean, a good guess. 29.
What? There aren't that many fucking characters in it.
29. And the assembly cut, I don't know what that is 32.
Okay, all right, okay.
What was the planet that they were located on?
Fiorina, brackets, Fury 161.
Correct. 2 so far. What was Sigourney Weaver's fee for appearing in this film?
I want to say $5 million.
5.5, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 5 on your specialist subject. Not
You got some
bad.
trick questions in there, so
I think that's fair because you always try to catch me out, you sneaky bastard.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay, so that was 3 for your
3.
specialist. Would you like your general knowledge questions?
Yeah, let's go for it. Come on.
Righty dokie. General knowledge then for Mark, all round legend. And turns out doesn't know much about Alien 3.
Shitty face.
In what year was the first general release film in Technicolor? You're clicking. I can hear clicking. I hope you're not cheating.
Pen. That's my pen.
Does that help you think?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
It's
try
my
it.
thinking pen. That's it.
We do all our own sound effects here on Culture Trumpet.
Technicolor 1939.
1922.
Really though? Okay.
It's the first general release film as well, so it was, it wasn't like the specialist. Look what Technicolor does.
Oh right.
And
Okay.
I should have noted it down, but
That's
I didn't.
older than I thought. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Number 2. How many released Walt Disney Animation Studios films are there?
Purely Disney, not including Pixar.
Considering it's all the information you need is in the question. Walt Disney Animation Studios.
Right. Yes. 50.
Oh, 60, close.
Oh, well, okay.
Encanto was the last one, that was 60.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Which film composer, rephrase that correctly because I know how important this is to you. Which film composer has won the most Academy Awards?
I mean, I would say it's probably got to be John Williams.
Incorrect.
Oh,
It's-
right. Hang on. I know I've lost the point. Let me think.
Okay. Because I do have some stats here.
Okay, yeah. Oh no, go on. I was going
Okay.
to say Jerry Goldsmith, but I don't think it's
No, it's not that either. So Alfred Newman with 9.
right.
Joint third is John Williams and John Barry.
Oh, right.
Hans Zimmer. That bit I didn't write down.
Okay, right. Okay.
But Hans Zimmer has only ever won 2 Oscars, which surprised me.
Really?
I thought he'd won much more. And he's like
mean,
9th on the list of top 10.
He should have won much more.
You thought, the way they go on about it. Anyway, what film was the first film to use photorealistic computer-generated fire?
Fire.
Fire.
Dragonheart.
I mean, brilliant guess. Backdraft.
Oh. That computer generated.
Apparently.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I did my research. I mean, what was the film you said again? Rain of Fire?
No, not Rain of Fire. That's the one I was thinking of, but I said Dragonheart. No, sorry. Let me rephrase that. When I said Dragonheart, I meant Dragonheart only because I couldn't remember the name of Rain of Fire.
So you're thinking Dragonheart, the film that Sean Connery voiced a dragon?
Correct.
Right. No. Still no.
Okay.
I was thinking Rain of Fire when you said Dragonheart. Which 1995 submarine drama featured uncredited additional dialogue courtesy
Crimson Tide.
of Quentin Tarantino?
Crimson Tide.
Correct. Have a point.
Thank you.
That's
That's 4 in total.
a 4 of 10.
That's fucking terrible.
But the thing is,
Right.
I think because by me going first,
Yeah.
I've got my own back for all the times you've shafted me in a quiz.
Okay. Are we ready for your go?
No anymore. Let's just move on. Go for it.
Right then. Name,
Dan.
occupation,
Culture Trumpet podcast extraordinaire. Badass motherfucker.
Wee. And your chosen specialist subject film.
The Back to
Or
the Future
films.
trilogy.
Back to the Future trilogy. You have 5 questions on the Back to the Future trilogy. Time starts now. Name the actor who replaced Crispin Glover in the Back to the Future sequels.
Jeffrey Wiseman.
Correct. Which star made his film debut in Back to the Future 2?
Oh, bollocks. I was going to say Flea, but it's not Flea. Flea.
Nope. Elijah Wood.
Oh, of course, the kid, yeah.
What was one of the alternate names suggested for the first Back to the Future film?
Spaceman from Pluto.
Correct. As a little bonus point, not really a bonus point, but just see if you know, can you recall why that was suggested and how Steven Spielberg reacted?
It was suggested by the studio, wasn't it? But didn't I can't remember what Spielberg did. I've got in my head he would refuse to make it. I can't remember.
No, it was Sidney Sheinberg, the head of the studio, suggested it personally in a memo, and Spielberg reacted by replying to the memo and including everyone in the reply, congratulating Sidney Sheinberg on his hilarious joke and how it had given everyone in the office a really good laugh.
I mean, I would have seen that in the movies that made us doc, because I have heard that.
So he basically embarrassed him into backing down.
I mean, Spielberg was a bloody cowboy, wasn't he? Really?
Yeah, he was great. So there's a point anyway, right? Huey Lewis famously has a cameo in Back to the Future, but what are his lines?
I'm sorry, you guys are just too darn loud.
I'll give you half a point for that, because that's his second line. What's
Quiet,
his
please.
first line? Nope.
Oh, you bastard. No, I think I should have that. No.
His first line is, next, please. Then his second line is, hold it, fellas. I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
Of course, he stands up and whilst they're still playing, next, please.
Half a point.
Rude.
What is the family that runs the Hill Valley manure business
That's a good one.
that Biff and Buford Tannen seem to keep running into?
Oh, that's a really good question. Oh, I don't know, but I'm gonna go with Lloyd as a nod to Christopher Lloyd.
Okay, Jones.
Ah, bugger. Good Welsh name.
Okay. So 3.5 points, not bad.
I mean,
right then,
I can do this.
general knowledge
I'm
now.
scared now.
To be honest, I think you're going to get this one. Where did Indiana Jones get his name from?
His dog. The dog.
What dog?
His dad's dog.
His dad's dog. Indiana Jones' dad's dog.
The dog.
Which dog?
You know, the dog.
I'm going to have to say no to that one, I'm afraid. George Lucas's dog
The dog.
was called Indiana. Yeah, you couldn't tell me which dog.
Doesn't matter. I said dog.
Well, his name's not Dog Jones, is it? Fuck me. Right then. Next, you're not getting that one.
Fuck off.
Next.
I said dog.
Yeah, you say which dog?
You
The
didn't ask
answer
me
is
which dog.
George Lucas's dog. Right.
Dog.
I'll move on.
Oh, God.
What is Michael Keaton's real name?
Dog. Hang on. I don't know.
Michael Douglas.
Is it? Oh, obviously, you had to change that.
Indeed. Okay. Former cinematographer Jan de Bont made his directorial debut with which film?
Lethal Weapon.
Speed.
Great.
How many people have played Sarah Connor on screen?
Oh, Christ. Well. There's a trick question here. Because you have Linda Hamilton.
Correct.
Linda Hamilton's twin.
No. Okay.
I'm
I'm not including Linda Hamilton's twin.
Fuck, I thought I was being clever then.
You were, and I'd forgotten about that. But I'm not I'm not including that.
Well, that doesn't count then, so I think I should have at least half a point. Anyway,
Just
okay.
keep going.
So Linda Hamilton's twin, just add 1 onto the number you've got, Mark.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Amelia Clark.
Uh-huh.
Then there's the Sarah Connor Chronicles. And I've never seen it, but I'm assuming there's at least one actress in there.
Mm-hmm.
And for one, for good measure, 5.
No. Well, including Linda Hamilton's twin, if you insist on doing that, it's 4.
I should have stuck with my gut.
You should have stopped where you were. Oh, no.
Piss.
I think you're still on 3.5 points.
I said dog.
Last question.
My cockiness has slid straight off. It really has.
In the film The Shining, the infamous room where nasty things happen is room 237. What number is the room in the book of The Shining?
I've never read the bloody book.
I think that sounds like your problem.
Why would Kubrick have changed the number? I'll go with room 13. My brain goes room 13 because it's unlucky, or room 101 for some reason. But room 13.
Room 217.
What's the point? What is the point?
Apparently, the hotel that was used for the exteriors for the film had a room 217, and they asked him to change it so they didn't just have people coming and wanting to stay in room 217.
I mean, that's a valid
point. They didn't have a room 237.
Right, okay.
So they just wanted him to change it to a room that they didn't have.
Absolute
Oh, no.
piss.
That looks like you got 3.5 and I got 4.
I said dog.
The question was, where did Indiana Jones get his name? You might as well have said...
The dog.
You might have... Which dog? You might as well have just said...
The question.
Cabbage.
No, because Indiana Jones wasn't named after a cabbage. He was named after
he was named after George Lucas's dog.
And you said the same word. Dog.
But which? Anyway... it's a shame you're such a bad loser. Never mind.
No, you're just a shit quiz host. It's a shame we've run out of time, really, to talk about anything else.
I'm glad you suggested bringing the quiz back. I really enjoyed that.
It was great. Even though I will take solace in I said dog, which means I will sleep tonight because I know.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you half a point for dog, and we can call it a draw.
Bongo. I'm fine. Because you know deep down that I'm right. Dog.
I'm sorry, but the answer's got to be specific.
And, well, you're soft then for giving me half a point. But there we are. Your decision, not mine. I said dog. If you think great. I've been robbed, listeners.
That was great. That was fantastic. Well... On that bombshell where I've had to let Dan draw.
I mean, it's level playing field for the next quiz.
So he didn't, throw his toys completely out of the pram. I think we can all agree, can't we, that I'm morally the winner. And so we'll leave that.
What have we learned? What have we learned on this journey?
We've learned that precision is important.
Yes, and precision in the way that the question is...
repeatedly.
Precision in the way that the question is phrased to the quizzer.
You mean the question, how did Indiana Jones get his name?
I mean, if you left out the name George Lucas, the next part, dog, is what I answered. Which is still correct.
Yeah, but who's dog?
I don't care.
In fact, originally, you said his dad's dog. Which is completely wrong.
It was still fucking dog.
Yeah, but not even the right fucking person. You specifically said the wrong person's dog.
I changed my mind.
So, do you know, I think I'm going to take that half point away.
Oh, bollocks. Well, then.
On that victory...
I'm off for a cry.
We'll leave it there and we'll see you again another time.
Bye, listeners. I might be back, I might not, it depends.
Yeah, it might just be stuck with me on my own next time.
Dog.
Bye.
Bye.